If you don't know who Xaryu is like a multi-gladiator, amazing mage, basically. And he does a bunch of hardcore content now. He plays World of Warcraft hardcore, which is like if you die, you're done. And he's just giving his opinion on the new WoW remix that just came out or is coming out soon.
That's 38,500 bronze. All right, should we do this first react? I've been putting this off because I feel like we're gonna have a lot of people agree and then a lot of people disagree, and it's gonna get me in trouble and it's gonna be very heated. But like, I feel like I can't not talk about this. The reigns of the heavenly cloud serpent, originally dropping from Shaw of Anger, will cost 38,500 bronze in the upcoming remix event. Alright, we all saw it. Let's talk about it. Koala, thanks for the prime. Alex, thanks for the prime. We'll go over some takes. First, I'll give you my take, then we'll go over other people's takes, and then we'll go over your guys' takes.
And then I will give my take while you're giving your take.
This means, okay, so if you guys aren't familiar, Reigns of the Heavenly Onyx Cloud Serpent, one of the most prestigious rare mounts in World of Warcraft. It's a 1 in 2,000 drop rate, or at least was a 1 in 2,000 drop rate. And it was from a boss called Shaw of Anger and Mist of Pandaria. It's
a world boss.
World boss, one of 4 world bosses.
Yep.
Nalak, Undasta, Galleon, and Shaw of Anger, okay? And this one, to me at least, was like the most prestigious because it looks the coolest. The other 3 were just as rare, I believe, 1 in 2,000. And people have been farming this mount since 2012. So it's been 12 years now. And if you have it, it's kind of cool. If you don't, you're probably still farming it. Because, yeah, if you're in the mount farming community, it's pretty dope. All right. Full disclosure, I personally do have this mount. I got it after about 1,000 attempts, and it was pretty soul-sucking. But once I got that mount, it was a pretty awesome feeling. And I didn't buy it from the black market auction house. I actually got it as a drop. Okay, and that drop, I think, is on my YouTube and Twitter. I got it like a year or 2 ago. Okay, what is my take on them allowing Shaw of Anger to be purchased with bronze? I think it is, quite frankly, a little disrespectful to the player base.
Is it more disrespectful than store mounts? I don't know, man.
I think it's bait and switch to have something that you earn one way, have players earn it in one way, and then switch it to earning it another way.
Yeah, but you don't earn this. You get lucky. That's not earning something. If I go kill the Lich King and he drops his mount in the first run, that's not earning it. I walked out and I killed the boss and he dropped it. I got lucky, right? So, yeah, earning it would be awesome. Like, yeah, let's say if you like in Final Fantasy 14, right? If you kill a boss 100 times, right, on farm, you get these little tokens and you turn them in for a mount. If they all of a sudden change that to being 20 runs, you completely would be correct, right? The problem is that this is an RNG drop to begin with. There is no set price, no set time, no set direction. It is just, you could get it on your first run, you get it on your 3,000th run, who knows? It's up to RNG. The fact that there isn't a set duration is fundamentally bad. It's a problem with the game. RNG in most games like this, when it comes to RNG drops, pretty bad. Not a big fan of it. Just because like someone could be like farming that out for years and years, and never get the thing that they want. And that's not cool, man. Like if you spend like, yeah, you say it's awesome once you finally get it. Yeah, sure. But, like, if you spend a lot of time doing it, all you're really doing is wasting time. You're just wasting time. You know? One of the greatest things about Final Fantasy 14, right? And I'm sorry for bringing it up. I don't even play Final Fantasy 14 right now, by the way. I don't play Final Fantasy 14. But one of the great things about it is that you know when you're going to get something. You can get it at RNG in Final Fantasy, but you can also just get it at a set time and a set duration. I think it takes something that rare and then put it up for everyone and diminishes it for everyone that did 1,000 attempts to get it. You do earn it if you've taken your time to hundreds of attempts, and then someone can someone you've taken your time to 100 attempts, and then someone can just come up and do it in a few days. I mean, I don't know. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think that, like, if you had it set as RNG to begin with, and I feel like the RNG by itself produced an exclusivity that didn't really matter. That doesn't really, like it doesn't equal effort. Like, yeah, you could have put a lot of effort in, but, like, your friend, I don't know, Jerry James McGillicuddy, he got it on the second try. That's not really effort. You know what I mean? That's just like someone got lucky and you didn't. Like, that's not cool. I don't like that at all.
In my opinion, if you want to add in new mounts with a currency, that's awesome. If you're like, you know what, this old percentage drop based stuff is antiquated, this is a thing of the past, no one likes farming mounts, which I don't think is true, but let's just say that's the argument. You
also, didn't they make the Onyx, didn't they make this mount? They made this mount insta drop, didn't they? Didn't it drop it for free, like, for like 2 days or some shit? Like, a lot of people got this for free.
You want to make, like, no one wants to farm mounts, it's boring, it's not engaging, it's resident sleeper, then fine. In the future, don't introduce drop percent mounts anymore.
You know, this is not last expansion content. This is really old, right? At this point, it's not actually hard to earn it anymore. There is no skill in getting it. Why bother making it a slog? I can understand if it's current last expansion content. I actually want to, for the first time ever in existence, I 100% agree with you, Daniel. That's exactly what my take is too. It's like, I don't really think it should be last expansion. I mean, if it's last expansion, it's whatever. Like, it should still be the same. But maybe for current expansion, make it a drop chance. But even then, I still think RNG and drops is bad. I think RNG in general is a bad thing to go for. Having something that you know you can work towards is way more fun than just saying, oh, every week I have a chance to get this thing. Like, I'd be way more happy with RNG plus guarantee, meaning like I go into a raid with Braddy and we go and kill that raid with our raid team or whatever. And everyone in that raid has a chance to get this thing early. But we're all getting a currency over time. So every time we clear that raid, we get a currency. We go back in, clear the currency. People who, maybe someone gets lucky. Great, get it early. But the rest of us have the currency building up. And then eventually we all get the thing that we're working towards together. And I think that's way more fun and way more enjoyable because you feel like the time you put in mattered. It's way more... It also makes you want to play more because you know that at a certain point you're going to get the thing that you want to get. You know, I think one of the most deterring things for a lot of people, for me especially, is when you go in and you try to farm something and you farm it, and never drops. Like, eventually I'm like, why would I ever want to try to do that again? Like, eventually, I finally got my time locking mount, the Time Reaver. I did, like, I don't know, like 900 runs before I stopped trying and stopped caring about it. And then eventually I got it for just, you know, one day doing it without trying to. And I think that's bad. You know, I'm really happy I get the thing, but those 900 other attempts, like, I remember the first week it came out, one of our guildies got that mount, the Time Reaver, the Timeless Time Reaver, and it's like this nice black Twilight Time Reaver Drake. It's really cool. And I really wanted it, and it came out during Warlords of Draenor. I think during, like, the second to last patch, it came out, and I wanted it so bad. I did, like, almost 1,000 runs instantly, and I didn't get it. After so many attempts working on it. I didn't get it. And you know what? If I would have felt better about that and less frustrated. I mean, like, if I'd known that, oh, if I do 100 attempts, I'm gonna get it, right? I don't know. That's how I feel.
And you could do currency mounts.
No, it wasn't you. It was a guy. Sure, with a P. It wasn't Proxy. It was like Prestigious, something like that. It was It was a guy who's brand new to the game. He'd never played the game before. He played Mage. He came into our raid team. He played with us for like a couple months. I think he played with us a little bit into Legion, and then he stopped playing the game altogether. And he was a good guy. It's actually, he was there the night that I quit playing the game, or not quit playing the game, the night that I quit drinking forever. On a serious, but I used to drink a lot. But basically, whenever he was hanging out with us one night whenever I was drinking too much, and that's the last like positive memory I had. I think it was Zarek, him, Tara, and some other people were all hanging out together. But yeah, he got that mount, and I remember like just putting in so many hours and so much time to try to get that mount, and it just never came. And then it finally came when I came back to WoW recently in this last season, and I put like no effort into trying to get it. I was just leveling up alts, and I got it. And I lost my mind when I got it. I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I got it. Holy shit. Oh, blah, 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 all this time. Like, yeah, that's great. That's a cool thing to happen. But I think the amount of time spent being frustrated about it outweighs that small spark of excitement. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I know for a fact that Braddy, who's in the chat, I know for a fact that you were very frustrated about Ashes of Alar. Like, very frustrated. But if you had a goal to work towards, you would have been frustrated about it. You'd have been annoyed, but it would have been like, oh yeah, well, I'll get the rest of these runs out and I know I'll get to it at some point. Or I think maybe like Invincible. I think you're doing Invincible
or
right
ahead
now.
of the curve mounts or other
Same
style
thing.
of mounts to earn. And if you don't want rare drop mounts, then don't add them anymore. But this one was a rare drop mount, so changing how you receive it to me is a clear bait and switch and disrespectful to the player base who's already farmed it or is in the process
I think
of
you did
farming
too.
it, or ever tried to farm it. It's a clear slap in the face, right? Now,
I'm still trying to get on Invincible on mini tunes. I also don't have Time Reaver. That's what I'm saying though. Is like I'm saying like World of Warcraft. I think the way they're going right now with this WoW remix thing is a good direction. Like I think currency is a good direction to go for mounts and things that you put your time into. And I think it's good that they went down this route because RNG is antiquated to a 1000th degree. It is a thing of the past. Ashes of Alar, you could say it's special because of how rare it was, but really the reason why it was special is because it had legendary on it, right? It's the only legendary mount to ever exist. Or at least I remember it being a legendary mount. And it was so different. Like it doesn't matter if it was rare. It's such a different mount. There is no other mount like Ashes of Alar until later on in later expansions. Ashes of Alar was so fucking unique. There was no like magical flame phoenix at the time. There was nothing like it, right? So Ashes of Alar being what it is fucking badass. Like it's just a badass mount. Same with Invincible. It's a fucking undead demon horse with flappy wings. Like that's really cool. I mean, we all see those things and think they're awesome. Not because of how rare they are. I'm sure the rarity brings some type of interest to it, but in reality, the mount itself was cool. Like it was just cool mount. Like that's why people wanted it.
I think it'll be a short-term dopamine hit for the people that buy it. Wow, I have this mount I spent thousands of hours trying to farm. And then everyone will have it. And then it won't be cool anymore, and then it's another mount that's not cool anymore.
Yeah, that's also a problem too. So like people in chat are saying like, well, another issue is that the longer the game goes on, the more mounts are in the game. It makes it somewhat less important. I used to actively farm mount farm, but now there are so many left to farm that I don't really care as much. But yeah, and that's a big problem too. The big problem too is that the game is just so old. And there's so much in the game to collect that it's a little overwhelming to the point where it's like, why even try to do it? There's just so much around to get. And I feel like if Rivendare's Reigns drop in Classic World of Warcraft, the original vanilla classic, that's crazy, right? Because there's like no other option, especially if you're an Alliance. There's no options for an undead mount, really. Like, there's almost none. Right? So, Riveners and Reigns are fucking crazy to get. Like, you're gonna feel really excited about that. So, I feel like there's more of an argument to make for RNG in something where there's almost nothing to get. Like, there's almost nothing available. But now that there's so much here, having RNG in place at all feels kind of fucking antiquated. Like, I'd say maybe after BC, after Burning Crusade, I'd say maybe making anything RNG based to get feels kind of bad. Like, and I say after BC because I feel like the game transitions into a more casual player base after BC. It goes classic BC, and then like a big casual push happens in Wrath. So whenever Wrath happens, that RNG should kind of just go away. That's how I feel, personally. And I feel the same way about what's happening now. MOP shouldn't have had RNG items. I feel like it shouldn't have happened. Everything should have had some kind of vendor currency to it that you could get over time, that whatever you'd like. Instead of it just being like, oh yeah, there's a chance. Like, I don't like that. Also, if everything, if not everything is RNG, by the way, more people will want to do it because they'll all have a chance to get it. Like, if you're all farming Invincible and it is only one drop, like, you have way less reason to go with other people to do it. There's just no reason to, you know? If you're doing it with friends, and let's say old content doesn't have lockouts anymore, you remove the content, remove lockouts for old content, and you and your friends just go fucking slam ICC about 1,000 times together, and they all get the mount. Like, that feels better. Like, we used to do mount runs, and in Final Fantasy, and it was some of the most fun I've had, where we all got together and we went and farmed a mount together, and we just fucking slammed into a thing 1,000 times until everyone got the mount, or until we all got the currency to get the mount. Like, that was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. And there's more there's more people working together in something like that.
I think it'll be a short-term dopamine hit for the people that buy it. Wow, I have this mount I spent thousands of hours trying to farm. And then everyone will have it, and then it won't be cool anymore, and then it's another mount that's not cool anymore.
If something being rare is what makes it cool, it was never cool to begin with. That's what I'll say. If something being rare is what makes it cool to you, it was never cool to begin with.
More. Same thing happened with Twitch drops, with some of these TCG mounts. Same thing happened with some of these rare mounts they brought back.
TCG mounts were all pay-to-win mounts. You had to buy that with real money. They were never cool. They weren't. Okay? If you spent like 5 seconds thinking about it, like, anyone could get it who had the money. Right? That's not fun. That's not exciting. That's just another store mount. That's a store mount with steps. Okay? When I was younger, I thought that shit was cool. Yeah, because I was fucking stupid. But it's not, that's not cool, man. Like, it's not a cool thing.
It becomes a rare mount that was once cool to a common mount that nobody cares about anymore for a short-term dopamine hit. So you're basically trading a little bit of dopamine for the cost of that cool mount.
Yeah, I think Xaryu's like completely wrong, by the way. If it isn't obvious, I really do not agree. I agree with him for a lot of things. I don't agree with him in this one. I think that he's really wrong about this. I think this is a lot of his own nostalgia speaking. This is nostalgia wrapping up his ideas right now.
So yeah, I think this is not a good move forward from Blizzard. I think it's another short-term trade for long-term satisfaction, and I think as long as Blizzard keeps making short-term trades for their game, in the long term will suffer. The short term will be okay. People will be excited to get a cool mount they've always wanted. It'll be nice for the short term, but you look back 6 months or a year from now, and now the mount's not cool or prestigious anymore, and it's like, okay, well, that wasn't worth it. Not at all. So yeah, I think it's a massive L. So basically, let's get in.
Anytime you spend 1,000 hours doing something, that isn't. Anytime you spend 1,000 hours doing something that is mostly for show, or just say I did this whenever no one else did, it's never worth it. It's not like spending 1,000 hours farming a mount in a video game is never gonna be worth it. All right, it's just something for fun. You do it for fun in the moment, right? You want the thing because you like the thing, and you farm it. There's nothing wrong with having a hobby, but don't try to make it like there's this. Don't try to make your life your time spent validated by how worthwhile a fucking transmog piece, or how worthwhile a fucking mount is. Like, that's so dumb to me. Like, don't try to like evaluate your time as being worthwhile in a video game by how prestigious or rare an item or a mount is in a video game. That's fucking stupid. It's so dumb. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not trying to be mean to Xaryu, but it's a really dumb thing to say. All right, it's stupid, especially for someone who's like as athletically and I guess as physically fit and talking about how important health is. Like, we shouldn't be trying to hype up and making video game items prestigious, or like something that you should feel really good about. Like, yeah, you can feel nice about it in the moment, but if it changes over time, it's a fucking game. It's gonna change over time. And eventually, you know what? Blizzard will shut down eventually. Eventually there won't be a Blizzard, there won't be a World of Warcraft, right? It won't happen. Either that, or in some way it'll be gone and private servers will take over, and you still won't have the shit that you had. It won't be there anymore. It'll be gone. Stop holding on to it. It doesn't fucking matter.
Then some comments on the tweet, and then I'll discuss them, and then I'll talk to chat about what you guys think about this. So yeah, what I said is this is a clear example of trading a short-term dopamine hit for the game's long-term satisfaction and stability. Don't think this is the right move. And that's pretty much exactly what I think. And we already covered it, I think, so let's move on. Max says, farming 38k bronze takes forever. I don't think farming 38k bronze is comparable to a 1 in 2,000 drop chance, which, by the way, they actually did increase the drop rate on it, I think, at some point about 2 years ago. You still felt that feeling when the mount dropped for you. Other people not having it still have to work for this. Yeah, but they work for it in a different way. So it's a bait and switch, right? These takes are tiring. Why? The majority of people, even if those who have these prestigious things don't give an F, I think a lot of them do, which is why there's a lot of hate on this thread. So yeah, I guess I have to disagree with almost everything that
I feel like the people who really care are people who really signify their life. Their life and their time value, their sunk cost fallacy into World of Warcraft. And I used to be someone like that. So I don't really blame people for having that feeling. But you need to get out of it. It's not that important.
Max has to say. And I would like to chat with him about why.
It's a video game. Enjoy the video game. You should be playing your World of Warcraft like a single player game. Okay? World of Warcraft is not how it used to be back in 2008. We have Discord, we have other things. Pretty much everything you play is online just about at this point. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's never going to be the same. Your prestige, quote unquote, does not matter. Like, if you get an item in a video game, it's a fucking video game. And play the game if you want to play the game. Don't play the game if you don't. Don't attach your identity to a video game.
Why? But this is pretty much what I said in reply. If Blizzard wants to introduce new ways to farm new mounts, that's awesome. And even if they want to nod to old mounts using similar skins and recolors, that might be a solid middle ground for us all to agree. Once again, if you want to do a recolor or kind of a similar thing.
To a degree, I understand what you're saying. But I also think that, like, in general, in the beginning, it shouldn't have been like that to begin with. All right, this is like almost like an autocorrect on Blizzard's behalf. It should be like this now, right? And yeah, it sucks that if you spent all that time, maybe you should reevaluate how you're spending your time. To be honest, I'm just being real. If you have to go, oh man, I spent this much time doing this thing, now it's been rendered invalid. what you should go and think then yourself is, wow, I probably should reevaluate how I'm spending all my time. If all your time was spent fucking farming a black long drake from fucking Mista Pandaria, and you feel regret after hearing this news, you should probably really reevaluate how you spend your free time, if it really is that important to you.
Then cool. But if you introduce new ways to farm old mounts, that's already an established farming method with percent-based drops, it's bait and switch and disrespectful to the player base. And I
look, if we're gonna talk about disrespectful to the player base, let's just be real. Blizzard does that every time they breathe. Okay, they've been doing that since the first mount was introduced to the store. Like, since the first transfer system was introduced, back when transfers used to be, ever since the fact that, like, we still pay $15 a month for, like, the last whoever knows how long, even though we have store mounts and store transmogs, they have been disrespecting the player base forever. So if you think that this is disrespectful, you have so many other hills to die on first before you go to this. Go start a picketing fence way back then. Okay? Because that's where you should have started complaining. And that's where you should be complaining. Like, this is actually overall a good thing.
I think that's pretty much exactly what I have to say about that. Word for word. Yes. Okay, yes, that's exactly what I have to say about that. So I think that kind of covers that take. So we can move on from that.
And I have to say again, like Xaryu, I had the same opinion that you do. For a long time, I had this exact same opinion that we shouldn't devalue items by introducing, like, quick ways to get it later, or introducing, like, different recolors of the same transmog. I was so mad when I saw the recolor of they recolored the mop challenge mode gear, and it was like, I think it was like in the class buildings when they in Legion, when they had class order halls and you could go in and you could buy gear. There was like a recolor of like the Paladin armor set from the Mista Pandaria challenge mode, and it was like yellow instead of blue, and it pissed me off, and I was really fucking mad about it. And then I got older, and I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, what matters is the time I spent getting it. Oh, I got this thing. I put a lot of work into it. I got it, you know, at the time, and I know how much effort I put in. The knowledge and the memory of what I did is what's valuable to me, not the oh, I have it. Like, who cares? I wouldn't give a shit if they came out right now and said, all right, everyone who logs in from the War Within gets a Mista Pandaria challenge mode set of their choosing. I would not give a fuck. I'd be like, oh yeah, hell yeah. I can get one for my Warlock, which I didn't get to get. And I love the Warlock one, because I fucking love transmog. Who cares? We all get to have fun. Just have fun.
Asmongold has a take that I want to discuss more in depth. Everyone mad would have a point if you couldn't buy this from the BMAH. So that's a good point. It's a really good point. With real money via tokens. That's a very good point, and we'll want to cover that. Or if Blizzard hadn't changed the drop rate in 2022 because they effed up and made it a guaranteed drop. This is a
right. Yeah, that's what happened. What Asmongold just said. If Blizzard hadn't changed it, they fucked up the drop rate with the Drakthir for like 2 days. It was like a big fucking thing. I remember like exploding up at the time.
Another good point. So Asmongold actually has some good points. This game has no integrity. It's over. So he's being a bit facetious at the end, and maybe there's some truth to that. But I want to discuss this. So the first thing I want to discuss is the but I want to discuss this.
I would like a pity system that increases the drop rate after a certain number of runs, especially if for decade-old content. I think it's fine unless 38,500 bronze is cheap. I actually agree. Like a pity system, they need one. They need one. It's just like gacha games. There needs to be a pity system.
So the first thing I want to discuss is the I guess we don't, is the BMAH with real money. I think this is fair. Yeah. It probably, I think the fact that you can buy tokens with real money is not a good idea. So yes, I concede. Asmongold's right. BMAH with real money is stupid. I've never liked that, and I still don't like it. Tokens are trash for an online video game. Yeah, buying gold with real money sucks for a game. It loses integrity. If you want that, I agree. That also sucks. So sure, I concede. Blizzard hadn't changed the drop rate in 2022 because they effed up and made it guaranteed. Once again, another good point. They messed up. There was a bug. So if in 2022, when the expansion came out with Draktheirs, there was a bug where if you ran Shaw of Anger on a Draktheir, it would almost guaranteed drop, or maybe 100% drop. And it was a bug for like 24 hours. In those 24 hours, a lot of mounts dropped, and people got them. Maybe, I don't know how many, thousands probably, maybe more. And they fixed it like a day or two later. And a lot of people got them out for free. So once again, the integrity was already pierced because real money via tokens, and the integrity was also pierced because they made it a guaranteed drop for Draktheirs. So two reasons. Asmongold has two really good points. And I can't really say, I can't really contest them other than this. Just because something has already had its integrity messed up doesn't mean it should be messed up any further. Just because they've messed up once doesn't mean they should mess up again. So I disagree with the game is already over. Maybe I'm an optimist. Maybe I'm too much of an optimist, but I would like to think that you can still turn the boat around.
I don't think that you're an optimist. I think that you're thinking about how things used to be too much, and how much you really wish it was back to the way it was, and you wish that amount had prestige. And I totally get that, and I respect that too. I get that. I have went through the whole process of like realizing that's not going to change, and realizing that what I do doesn't really matter in this game, and then giving up on it. And you know, I maybe you're in the process too, but you need to realize it's a fact, and you're not going to change it. It's not going to change because you wish it would change, and it doesn't mean that because of the way you feel doesn't mean that that's how it is. Like, just because you feel like there's integrity in a mount's viability doesn't mean that it's, you know, the truth.
Man, you can start making good decisions. It's not completely over. You can start with one good decision and then make another good decision and then make another good decision. But making bad decisions because other bad decisions were being made is not a reason to make more bad decisions. So that's my take on Asmongold.
I disagree.
He has a lot of like two great points, but just because Blizzard messed up once or twice in this case doesn't mean they have to mess up again.
I don't know if we're talking about what's fair. I mean, if Blizzard fucks up, and then their solution is to give it to everyone else anyway, to make it not be a fuck up anymore, I feel like that's a good solution overall. In general. Sorry, I'm just tying up my hostage. I apologize.
The game has less integrity than it should, but we can start turning the ship around by making good decisions. So yeah, I think that covers that. Let's read some more takes on the tweet, and then let's talk to chat. Aya says, "Are you kidding me?" Clearly, people are upset, or some people are upset. Warcraft Hermit says, "Stop." I mean, yeah. So clearly, people are upset. Frankly, this is gross, and Blizzard should never re-release it. So once again, yep, I agree. April Fools is 2 weeks ago. Clearly, people are upset. Salutebag is laughing. Yeah, please do not do this. Okay, so yeah, people are upset because of I think of what I've said. It's clear bait and switch, and if you continue to bait the player base with one thing and switch it, it's gonna make people feel disrespected.
So yeah, I think that's the real core of the problem is bait and switch. So I think, yeah, going forward, anything that they make, they should also make it with currency, right? So that people don't feel this way. They don't feel like they're getting robbed. But in general, I think the player base is a little fucking mentally ill to even feel this way to begin with. To be real. That's how I feel.
Respected over time, disrespected for their time over time, and then they're going to end up quitting the game. Okay, so after all that, what's up, chat? What do you guys think? That was a long-winded thing. What's bronze? It's a currency in the MOP remix. Is there anyone in the chat who disagrees? I know there's people in the chat that disagree.
I wish I could have a conversation.
I guess. Yeah. I disagree.
I wish I could
it's a
talk to you
limited
for
time
real.
event, so people won't be getting it later. So if something was a limited time event for like a Spectral Tiger or a limited time Twitch drop, or a limited time Heavenly Onyx that you could get in like a week, it's fine. I think I completely disagree with the sentiment that the limited time event helps in much of any way. All right, anything else? Disagree because I won't play this. Like, so you just don't play retail. So you just don't care. Okay. Well, so there are people who care. That's why the discussion's being had. I disagree because it's just a video game. So I've heard that point, right? Like, it's just a game, who cares?
Honestly, the best take someone in the chat's had so far. I disagree, it's just a video game. I agree with that. It's just a video game, relax, not a big deal.
And to my point, it's like, dude, we've spent our whole lives on this game.
That's a problem.
Clearly there's
like the accomplishments in World of Warcraft are not what makes your experience in WoW. It's the friendships you've made that stays beyond those. Like, I have so many friends that I've made who no longer play World of Warcraft that I love and care for. And at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. It does not matter, like, getting your Ruthless Gladiator or Wrathful Gladiator title. That doesn't matter. Like, getting your mount that you got from some dungeon does not matter. The stories around how you got that item are what's important, right? Which is the point I'm trying to make here. It's not the mount itself. It's not the prestigious set from MOP, challenge mode. It's not these limited time get it in that expansion or it's gone forever items. It's the stories around how you got those items. And if you got the items with not building any story, like not having friends to play with and not going out of your way to make friends to play with to get those things, and you have no story around that item, then maybe it's just me, I don't get why you care. Why do you give a fuck? Because you spent 1,000 hours of your life? It's just crazy.
some level of importance to us. There's a structure that's been built that people care about, right? Achievements. It's like, well, does clearing mythic matter? Does getting rank 1 matter? Does farming gold cap matter? It's like, well,
like most of those you can buy for. Like you can pay for most of those. So no. You can't, you can't pay for world first, mythic, maybe. You probably can't pay for world first rank 1, right? But you can still pay for rank 1, you can still pay for server first, things like that you can still get if you want to get.
Well, of course it does, because people care about these things because they spend time doing it. If it didn't matter at all, then no one would play the game. I hope it matters at least a little bit, right? I disagree. These mounts will still be fairly rare, and having them on the BMH already broke the rare mystique, so we covered that point. Any mount on the BMH isn't impressive because there's a good chance. Yeah, so I think that's a fair point. That was Asmongold's point. Like, you can already get it with real money via tokens on the black market auction house, right? Tokens are 20.
I think people who are in their 30s right now are just having a coming to Jesus moment who played WoW. Because people who are in their 30s, like, most people in their 30s played WoW most of their life. And a lot of them are coming to the conclusion of, like, oh shit. Wow, that's not... these things don't really mean anything. Yeah, you're right. Welcome to everyone else. This shit doesn't really mean anything. The relationships matter. Those memories matter. But getting a mount doesn't. Like, it just doesn't.
$20. You buy a bunch of tokens, you get a gold cap, you throw gold cap at it, you have the mount. And I agree. My counterpoint
30-year-olds
to
are at a
that
crisis.
is that's a mistake. I don't believe tokens are good for the game. I've been very vocal about that. And my only counterpoint is, since you messed up once, it doesn't mean you should mess up again. Because tokens are bad doesn't mean you should make another bad choice. So saying it's already broken.
If this is all your take, I'm not gonna keep repeating this over and over again.
So I think that's a fair point though. It's not. Or the bronze drake is rad. No. What's cool? What's the best mount from Wrath, guys? What's the best mount from Wrath?
It's Memoron's head.
Invincible.
No, it's Memoron's head. Invincible was guaranteed, right? And Memoron was really hard. Like, okay, so we're gonna talk about prestige and difficulty to obtain, right? Invincible 25-man Light of Dawn. That shit was easy. All right, I got that. Like, I was able to get that shit done. Like, I got Light of Dawn, and if I had been in the same guild the entire time, I would have gotten Invincible eventually. If I had been in that guild the whole time. Getting Light of Dawn was not hard. Okay, it was not a hard thing to do. Now, getting no light, that was really fucking hard. Getting no light was really hard, and Memoron's head was attached to it. So yeah, like, that's definitely the mount that people really, really care about more. That's the pinnacle mount from Wrath of the Lich King. Okay, if you're talking about any mount that was the most important, it was that one, then probably the Onyxia Drake, where the two were like people were. I remember the most of people being like, I really want that. And then at the very end of that was Malagos. And then maybe number 4 was Invincible. Because Invincible for anyone who was raiding at the time was not difficult to get. For anyone who was raiding like top. Okay? But the ones that even the top raiders struggled with was definitely Memoron and Onyxia. Okay? I'm just being honest.
Of course it's Invincible. And Mim's head. Why are they cool? Because they have a low drop chance. Let's move to Kata. What's a cool mount from Kata? Oh, dude, the seahorse. You know,
it's the fire drake, the fire hawk. The one that's like the most prestigious from Cataclysm is definitely the fire hawk, which is from Alistrazor, I think it is. I think it's from Alistrazor. In Firelands, that's the one that everyone wants. I think that the Stone Drake is a good one, but I also think that you can just spam it. So you could probably farm it out. The fact that it was like spammable. But yeah.
What's a cool?
Actually, probably the underwater mount, right? Isn't it the underwater mount? It's the seahorse. Well, no, the seahorse back then. I think we're talking about in the moment, Braddy. Back then, I think the seahorse was the most expensive, right? Wasn't the seahorse like the one that was like the most unique? I think Alistrazor is definitely Alistrazor is definitely the one that everyone wanted because it was the most unique of that expansion. The Alistrazor mount was the one that everyone wanted.
Cool mount from Kata. Southwind, Onyxia, Experiment 12B, Aeonax.
Onyxia is not from this one. Onyxia is from the last expansion.
Scarcity equals value. This isn't hard. Thank you. So that my point is, the cool mounts are because they're scarce.
That's not true. That's not true.
And if you undermine that, they're not cool anymore. And you're spitting in the player base's face and they don't even know it.
That's not true. There are several mounts that like drop from dungeons that are like different colorations and rare, but like they're not cool. They're not awesome to have. Like you get them, you probably never use them again. Like they're just recolors, right? So scarcity doesn't really mean anything. Rivendare's mount's just a recolor of a regular mount from the Undead. Rivendare isn't cool anymore. Rivendare used to be cool. Rivendare was really cool if you were Alliance, because you can get an undead mount that no one else could get, right? Because you can't get an undead mount as an Alliance. So that was cool, right? It was a nice thing to get. Alistrazor is cool because it was the first time they ever put one of those hawks out. No one had ever seen that before. So it's like, oh, I got this cool ass new hawk thing. You know, Mimiron's head. It's a fucking. They didn't make another Mimiron's head until what, Shadowlands or BFA. Like, they didn't make another one of those or any kind of mech mount until then. You know, the only thing you can get that was close to Invincible at the time was a recolored Invincible called the Sparkle Celestial Steed. Like, the Celestial Steed was just a recolor of Invincible. It was a retexturization. It was the same model, the same actual outline of the model. They just re-put new textures on top of it, and that was basically Invincible. Like no one gives a shit about that. What they really care about are unique ones. Mimiron's head, Ashes of Alar, Elysirazor. Those are the ones that really mattered because they were different, not because they were fucking rare. Like, if everyone got an Elysirazor mount, they'd still think it was cool. As long as you weren't giving it out because of, like, some pre-order bonus, or it wasn't some shop thing. If you could earn it in the game and everyone got one, I don't think anyone would give a shit. I wouldn't have cared. It would just be cool. Hey, we all got this new mount, you know? The Thundering fucking Drakes, or the Thundering Serpents from Pandaria were all cool. All of them. All the Thundering and Heavily ones are cool. Because they were new. They were brand new. Like, the model, the textures, the skeleton that built them up. Like, they were cool Drakes. That was like the Celestial Dragon from Mogushan Volts. They were brand new. It had a new texture. It looked like a sparkle pony. They looked like the Algalon. It was like Algalon, but it was like a dragon. Like, people love that shit because they're new. No one wants to do reskin number 7,895. Like, no one cares about that. Just being real.
Some people are rejoicing this is a good idea. In fact, it's pulling the damn rug out, and they don't even see it. So yeah, I think...
You thought you got a Seahorse part of Vashir? No. There is a Seahorse for Vashir, but it's for Vashir, period. And only in Vashir. And Braddy, I don't know if you want to correct me. I think it is. There's one that you get specifically for Vashir, and then there's one that you could get that you could use anywhere. And the one that you could use anywhere was the BOE one that everyone wanted.
I think it's justified that people are upset. I kind of agree with Asmongold's take that maybe it's over and it's too late because you can already buy it with real money. But I also disagree with the sentiment that it's too late to turn the boat around. You can start making good decisions from this point forward and start making the game better instead of making the game worse. You can actively start making good decisions instead of bad ones. And that's where I stand. So we'll turn this whole thing into a video. It'll be on YouTube for you to chew with, wrestle with.
Yeah, that's fine. Rip that apart a bit.
There it is. We talked about all the takes on the tweet.
Overall, good video. Thoughts on Blizzard's latest controversies by Xaryu. Honestly, I love Xaryu. Love him so much. I think that he's just very nostalgic for how WoW used to be. I don't blame him. I get it. The one you can buy, you can use anywhere. It was only rare before it was easy to farm, and then the price dropped significantly. I know, even I have one. I think I have one of them. I think someone bought me it, or someone got it for me as a gift. Probably Secret Santa. We have a Secret Santa in our WoW guild. I think Secret Santa got me one of those at some point. I still think it's Jack. I'm just saying. Anyway, but yeah, that's the video. We're gonna watch one more video and we'll be done for the day. But that is Xaryu's take, and that's my take on Xaryu's take. And we're gonna move on.